Part 1. The Power of Withdrawal. Have you ever noticed how some people seem to have an almost supernatural control over their environment? Without saying a word, they don't shout, they don't beg. They simply withdraw, and suddenly everything changes. The energy shifts, people start to question, to chase, to feel. Now, imagine if you did the same. What if you stopped reacting immediately to everything? If you chose silence instead of an automatic response, a strategic retreat instead of an emotional explosion, what do you think would happen? That's where the real power lies, when you stop being constantly available emotionally, physically, and psychologically. The world around you enters a state of crisis, because people are used to controlling you through your reactions, through your impulses, through your predictability. But the day you choose to withdraw, the game changes, and those who thought they knew you realize they know nothing about you at all. Part 2. The Mirror of Irritation. The psychologist Carl Jung once said, "Everything that irritates us about others can lead us to an understanding of ourselves." Now, think about that. When you become inaccessible, who gets desperate? Who becomes irritated? Who tries to provoke you just to get some kind of emotional response? This reveals more about them than it does about you. And more importantly, it reveals how much you are still being manipulated without even realizing it. You keep giving parts of yourself away to please others, to keep the peace, to avoid losing people who, deep down, were never really with you in the first place. With every forced yes, every immediate reply, every emotional reaction, you give away a piece of your energy. And at the end of the day, what's left? Tiredness, frustration, an emptiness you can't quite explain. But I can tell you why it's there. It's because you are too available for people who don't deserve even a minute of your silence. Part 3. Choosing yourself. This isn't about turning your back on the world. It's about choosing yourself. It's about learning what Jung called individuation, the process of becoming whole, authentic, and complete. And this process begins the moment you understand that your silence can be stronger than 1,000 arguments, that a conscious withdrawal isn't an act of escape, but an act of power. So I ask you, how long will you continue to be controlled by the emotions of others? How long will you react like a puppet every time someone pokes at your wounds? Maybe it's time to cut those strings, to withdraw, to become a mystery. Because when you stop being available, everything changes. Part 4. The prison of availability. You've been taught to always be present, to respond quickly, to please, to say yes even when your entire being is screaming no. Since childhood, you've been conditioned to believe that your worth is measured by how available you are to others. But here is a truth that no one ever says so clearly. This excessive availability is not a virtue. It's a prison. As long as you believe you need to be accessible at all times, you will be manipulated, drained, and forgotten the moment you are no longer useful. Do you know why? Because being always available makes you predictable, and anything predictable can become a tool. People start to use you as an emotional emergency button. They press it when they want attention, validation, or relief, and then they put you right back on the shelf. You don't notice this because you're trapped in the illusion that if you're always there for everyone, someone will eventually be there for you. But it doesn't work that way. Part 5. The Mask of Self-Abandonment. Carl Jung spoke of the persona, the mask we wear to be accepted, loved, and recognized. It is precisely this mask that keeps you overly available. You say, "It's okay," when you are suffocating inside. You reply to messages instantly, even when you're exhausted. You justify, explain, and defend yourself as if you owe the world an apology for your existence. But the truth is, the more you place yourself at the center of their stage, the more you disappear from your own. Being available all the time is a subtle form of self-abandonment. It's a disguised attempt to seek approval and avoid rejection. But this control comes at a price, and that price is your peace. The people who want you available all the time don't actually want you. They want what you provide. And when you change, when you set a boundary, those same people get irritated. They accuse you. It's not because you changed. It's because you stopped being functional for them. And here's the cruelest point. The more available you are, the less value you are given. No one respects what they don't have to earn. So, stop for a moment and think, who truly deserves your time? Or better yet, who deserves your absence? Part 6. Protecting your psychic energy. The answer lies in what Carl Jung called psychic energy. And if you don't learn to protect it, someone will use it against you. Call to action if this is making sense to you. click that subscribe button and join the channel. Thank you for your support. Carl Jung viewed the human psyche as an energy system. Every thought, emotion, and action consumes a part of that energy. The question is, are you choosing where your energy goes? Or are you letting the world decide for you? Every time you react impulsively, you are wasting psychic energy. When you defend yourself against a criticism, when you respond to a provocation, you are spending your inner strength on things that do not nourish you. And Jung was clear, what you resist persists. People who are emotionally drained are not weak. They are simply misdirected. And what happens to someone who lives in a state of exhaustion? They become vulnerable. And when you are vulnerable, you become easy prey. Manipulators and opportunists can sense this, and they take advantage of it. Part 7. The Power of Sovereignty. A healthy psyche knows how to keep its energy within its own system. This means learning to say no without guilt. It means knowing how to remain silent without feeling like a coward. It means learning to observe before you act. Because true power is not in reacting. It's in choosing when and how to act. How many times have you lost sleep over an unresolved conversation? This is your energy being drained with no return. Your psychic energy is like a force field. When it's well guarded, it creates presence. But when it's mismanaged, you become invisible, reactive, fragile. So, start observing your own triggers. What makes you react automatically? These are the exact points where your energy is escaping. You must work on this, not to become cold, but to become selective, to become sovereign over yourself. When you conserve your energy, you break the projections that others place upon you. Get ready to look into the eyes of those who have always drained you without you even realizing it. Part 8. The mechanics of manipulation. You think you are in control, but the truth is darker. Most of your emotional responses are programmed. Opportunistic people just have to push the buttons you've left exposed, and you react every single time. Carl Jung called this projection the mechanism where people cast onto others the parts of themselves they cannot face. The more emotionally available you are, the more you become a blank canvas for their projections. That friend who only calls in a crisis, that partner who always needs you to save the day, they are not relating to you. They are relating to the role you agree to play. And why do you agree? Because you're afraid of disappointing them, afraid of being abandoned. The most effective manipulation happens in the silence of your own guilt. A manipulator doesn't need to control you. They just need you to keep reacting in the same predictable way. But when you stop reacting, the game breaks. When you start saying no, when you respond with silence, the projections crumble. This leaves them unsettled because now they don't know who you are. And worse, they are forced to look at themselves. Your unavailability is a threat because it forces them to confront their own emptiness. And then comes the attack, the criticism, the emotional drama. Not because you are wrong, but because you stop being a convenient mirror. As Jung said, one does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. Are you ready to deal with the discomfort of being misunderstood? Because it is precisely in that silence that a new kind of power is born. Part 9. The weapon of silence. The modern world is noisy, but there is a power few people master, the power of conscious, strategic silence. When you stop reacting, you begin to observe. Silence grants you lucidity, and lucidity is a threat to those who thrive on your confusion. Have you ever noticed how people panic when you don't respond? It's not because they miss you. It's because your silence takes away their control over the narrative. As long as you are talking, you are still playing their game. But when you go silent, you change the rules. True silence is mastery over your own energy. It's the conscious choice not to engage in battles that aren't worth fighting. But be warned, silence has a price. It will distance you from people who only value the role you played. It will make you seem cold or arrogant. But this is just the reaction of those who never wanted to deal with your depth, only your utility. The more you mature, the more selective you become with your words. Sometimes, silence is not a retreat. It is sovereignty. The most powerful silence isn't the one that disturbs others. It's the silence that rebuilds you. Call to action if you are ready to reclaim your energy. You'll find immense value in my book, Beyond the Shadow. The link is in the pinned comment. Part 10. The discipline of unavailability. Awareness without action is just another form of self-deception. True transformation begins when you make a firm decision to become selective. Conscious unavailability isn't about being arrogant. It's about taking back control of your energy, your time, your peace. It starts with small actions. Don't respond immediately. Breathe before you react. Practice saying, "Not today. I'm not interested. I won't get involved." And here is the most important part. You do not need to justify your absence. You owe nothing to anyone but yourself. When you refuse to explain yourself, you take away their power. Want a thermometer for your own evolution? Observe who distances themselves when you become more reserved. Observe who tries to provoke you when you stop reacting. These are not signs that you are doing something wrong. They are proof that you are finally setting yourself free. Being unavailable will feel uncomfortable at first. You will feel guilty. This is just the deconstruction of a lifetime of conditioning. When you say no to the world, you are saying yes to yourself. Part 11. The rebirth when you stop being available to everyone. Something profound begins to happen. First, the silence feels uncomfortable. Then, it begins to cleanse, to calm, to heal. Then comes solitude. Not the solitude of absence, but the solitude of total presence with yourself. In that space, clarity replaces confusion, peace replaces anxiety. A new kind of strength emerges, the strength of being whole. Jung taught that to become who you truly are, you must be willing to walk alone for a while. You are not fleeing the world. You are returning to yourself. You stop being a reactor and become a creator. You will lose people, but you will find yourself. You will be misunderstood, but you will finally be respected. When you are no longer available for anything, you become valuable, rare, unforgettable. This is a rebirth, a new beginning. Now you only accept what resonates with your peace, your truth, your wholeness. If you have made it this far, a part of you is ready for this new path. Call to action now. Tell me in the comments, are you willing to pay the price of being you? If this message resonated with you, write in the comments, "I choose my peace." Let's see how many of us are ready for this transition. And don't forget to watch the next video. It's more important than you can imagine. See you there.